So here is the real G move that you make when you're around rich and successful and wealthy people. And to illustrate this G move, I'm actually going to explain it. Excuse me, I can't even talk. I'm actually going to explain it through telling a little story. In the internet marketing space, Dan Kennedy is sort of like this well-known presence, this OG who's been around forever, who's, I don't know how old he's very old, but he's been around forever. He's been around the block, and he's sort of like the OG of internet marketing or maybe not so much internet marketing, but certainly the OG of marketing and advertisement and so on, especially in the marketing and ad space and I guess copywriting space as well. So another guy who I've learned a lot from, his name is Ken McCarthy. He's been credited actually with coming up with a click-through rate. And in many ways, if he didn't do his job promoting the internet and selling how to advertise on the internet, you and I wouldn't do so much internet marketing today. In fact, there's this story about Ken McCarthy selling Bill Gates and the other tech bros in Silicon Valley way back in the 90s about how internet could be used to do video marketing, right? And they laughed at him, really. He was the proverbial, in air quotes, if you can't see, village idiot, which is hilarious to think about now because, now you use your phone as a camera and record everything. Anyway, here's the point. So Ken McCarthy met up with Dan Kennedy at some sort of a conference, which Dan Kennedy held. I think he was doing one of his lectures and so on. And at that time, Ken McCarthy was sort of like I'm not going to say he was a nobody because he really wasn't, but he wasn't like as well known and as famous, I guess, in that space as he is now, or as well renovated as he is now. So his way of getting to know Dan Kennedy, well, it was pretty simple. After the lecture was done, Ken McCarthy walked over to Ken and asked him, "Hey, do you need anything? Can I get you anything?" And Dan responded, "Yes, I would like some iced tea, please." And so guess what Ken McCarthy did? He fetched the iced tea and brought it to Dan. And that's how they sort of like got to know each other. And that's the real G move here. Giving. Start out by giving. Because these rich and wealthy people, they know that people want their time. And they know that people want their money. Right? Everyone and their mother wants something from them. Whether it's a new business idea or help funding some lame-ass project or free tips or free lunch or a free ride essentially for whatever, everything that they can get and stack and hoard and have for themselves, they know because that's how most people work. But very, very few people do the opposite, namely giving, and giving unselfishly. I'm talking about a transactional, way of giving. I'm not suggesting you go over to somebody rich and give them with the inherent expectation that they pay you back. No, keep in mind, you approach them. They don't owe you nothing, right? Nothing. So here's what you do. You walk over and you give them something, whether that's free iced tea or free coffee or help them with some work or what it is, or maybe even a gift. Let's say a rich dude says he loves a certain kind of tulip, right? He's into tulips. Well, then you give him a bouquet of tulips. Pretty simple, right? Now you do it unselfishly. Don't do it with the expectation that he's going to pay you back. Maybe he's not. Maybe he's in a foul mood that day. I don't know. Maybe a business deal went south. Maybe his grandmother passed away from cancer. Maybe he's had an argument with his daughter or his son. Who knows, right? It's kind of like picking up a girl. If a girl rejects you, then that may be because her situation is shit. Maybe she had a fight with her mother. Maybe her cat died. Maybe her aunt died. Maybe she failed an exam. Whatever it is, right? You just have to be prepared for it. Anyway, the point is simply you start off by giving because that's the real G move, and that's how you persuade people to build a relationship with them based on unconditional and non-transactional, well, giving really, or based on non-transactions and based on unselfishness. Don't go with the inherent expectation that people owe you anything, because they really don't. Go there with the ability and the want and desire to give, and see where that takes you. And that's the persuasion lesson for this video and our podcast. If you want to learn more on that, get subscribed to my email list. The link to do so is in the episode description wherever you're watching and or listening to this, and I'll see you there.